Hello, my name's Paul Ricci, and I'm here at the invitation of Gail Boyd to present to you what's going to happen 3:30 in the afternoon, Sunday, January 12th, at the Regent Parlor at the APAP presentations in New York City at the Hilton. It's going to happen this. We're going to have a performance by a singer I arrange and produce and play guitar with named Mafalda Minozzi. And before we talk about it, I'd like to show you a video of our upcoming release called Riophonic, recorded in Rio de Janeiro with Roberto Menescal, Cassin, a host of great musicians. So let's check out a video and we'll see if anybody wants to know more. Hang out. I can talk for 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Só danço samba, vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, vai. Só danço samba, vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, vai. Já dancei o twist até demais, mas não sei, me cansei do calypso ao cha-cha-cha. Só danço samba, vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, vai. Só danço samba, vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, vai. Só danço samba, vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, vai. Já dancei o twist até demais, mas não sei, me cansei do calypso ao cha-cha-cha. Só danço samba, vai. Só danço samba, vai. Vai.
I love hearing that every time, and I can't believe I was there. It all happened in such an impromptu fashion. Mafalda is an Italian. She came to Rio in 1996 at the invitation of a famous club for 2 weeks. Was such a success, she stayed for a year, signed a record contract, TV appearances, became a personality, became a force, principally for Italian music, done in a certain, not in a corny way. That's the goal. In She won titles from the state of Rio de Janeiro, from the Italian consulate as ambassador of Italian music. I am from New York, producer, arranger guitars for almost 30 years from Mafalda. Got into Brazilian music by way of jazz. The piano player is always there in the jazz trio. Guitar player, where is he? He's in Brazilian music, right in the center. So with the love for the great harmonies and rhythms of the great music, which is jazz. It's ever present in Brazilian music, based on the guitar. Migration was kind of a calling. I was able to play with the originators of samba jazz drums, Dom Romão, Edison Machado. I work with Astrid Gilberto also as an arranger, and Bebel, and a myriad of the cats in New York or around. So I was in Brazil. She was in Brazil. We started playing, and she got this record deal. And she said, "Hey, would you be the arranger?" And I said, "Anything for a trip to Brazil." And it just carried on from there. So this is a full circle. This record called Riophonic, which we will, we're not going to be playing the record at a 25-minute presentation at APAP. We're going to show Mafalda's depth because she comes from Italy. She sings French and English, jazz, bossa, and we've. This will be our fourth release for the USA jazz market. The first one, Sensorial, is on BGO quite a bit. Cinema City, Italian film composers in jazz. Natural Impression was the last one, and this new one coming out, Riophonic. And on her records, we have Liebman and Joe Locke and Michael Wolff and Patitucci, Will Calhoun, Victor Jones, Art Hirahara, Graham Haynes. I'm trying to remember. A lot of great musicians who I've worked with who dig Mafalda. So we will show her strength. She's an incredibly charismatic communicator. The last gig we did the other day, this like 4-year-old kid just magnetically comes up and wants to get on stage. So she brought him up on stage. I hope some of that energy is there for you to taste. We have done many tours as a duo, guitar and voice, also with a full band in clubs in New York, in embassies, Met Museum, NYU, LA, Denver. We are here to play, here being I'm in Sao Paulo, Italy, and New York. So this showcase is an attempt to bring Mafalda closer to the people out there because it's not easy being in 3 countries, uh, building upon the following. She's got a great reaction in New York with this record will be coming out. Riophonic. A funny thing, I mentioned Astrid Gilberto, and with Brazilian music, Mafalda said, "Oh, let's do the girl from Ipanema." I said, "No, no, 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 no. It's just too. It's there's too much baggage with it, right?" And as I mentioned, I worked with Astrid, and I was more than just a guitar player. I was a arranger and a friend, and I'm still a friend of her son. And she passed away suddenly, and her son asked me to be a sort of an interface to let people know. So I published it on my Facebook page. The next thing, I'm getting interview requests from New York Times and Al Jazeera and Wall Street Journal. And I did live Zoom things. I became sort of her defender because a lot of people wanted to get into gossip or the critiques against her. And she was great. So she brought me to Hollywood Bowl to play with Roy Haynes. So, which, thank you, Roy. So anyway, all of a sudden, I'm on the air talking about the girl from Ipanema and the girl from Ipanema. Astrid hated doing it, but she did it. And I thought, wow, look at all this importance. Maybe it's time to look at this song. So I did a samba jazz sort of perspective arrangement, which is on the record, and it's available now on Spotify in Portuguese, Garota de Ipanema. We were blessed by having this gig where we invited some important people, but they're friends in Copacabana, and they said, yeah, we'll do it. That's what time? And it was Roberto Menescal, the great composer of O Barquinho and so many other tunes. Cassin, who's a world-renowned DJ, producer, experimental, alternative, the king of the studios for Brazilian tendencies and stuff. But he's a great old school bass player because he grew up in the house of Edson Lobo and was João Donato. He since a child, so he knows that style. We put him on electric bass. We took the bass drum away from the bass drummer. Billy Hart said to me, "Man, when I played with Getz and João Gilberto was came to play, he wouldn't let me play the bass drum. I had to tie a brush to the bass drum." So that's the concept of the old bossa. So I mixed some samba jazz, some bossa, bass drums with no bass drum, electric bass playing without the bass drum. He's like a fluid contrapuntal thing. Great musician. Menescal, who's 87, who grew up in the studios. He returned to the studio. He plays on 10 cuts. We wrote a couple tunes. But at APAP, we don't have the structure, the time, and the full band to do a release of this record, but we'll do some things from it. We have French songs, Italian songs, duo formation, big band formation. Victor Jones will be with us on drums, who did an Italian tour with us, and he plays with us. He did the first record, Sensorial, for U.S. market. And Eduardo Bello, fantastic first call acoustic bass player, Brazilian guy in New York. So come hear music, and it's going to be great. The room at the Regent Parlor is just full of great music, great vibe, great musicians. We'll be there 3:30 in the afternoon, Sunday, January 12th. Come hear Mafalda Minozzi, the two N's, two Z's, mafaldaminozzi.com. You can check out a lot of great stuff. Her bio is just too long to even go into, but she's been doing it around the world with great musicians, with great adventure. She does the classics, but we always reharmonize. We always look for a different angle, and I always give her space. Quincy Jones said, when you arrange, write 70% and leave 30% for God to walk in the room. In this case, I write and leave a space, just vamp and see what she does. And there's always, on that video you saw, that ending vamp, it just happened. And we sat around, we figured out a structure. Let's record. And her dynamics and vocal notes, we just followed, we grouped around that. So it's a dynamic thing. Please come. I want to thank Gail Boyd for doing this contact between the presenters, the musicians, and the audience. Check out mafaldaminozzi.com. The pre release of Girl from Ipanema, Garota de Ipanema, is on Spotify now. We'll release another one on November something, and another one in December, and the record comes out in February. Riophonic, Mafalda Minozzi. Thank you for your time. I'll see you all Sunday, January 12th at 3:30 at the Hilton APAP conference in the Regent Parlor room. All right, cats.